Welcome back to Deep Cuts on Sheffield Live. It is episode 36, and we've had a whole hour been and gone, so that means it's time for... That's right, it's Archipelago MP3s, where my guests will come along, we'll have a little chat, and we'll play 3 of their favourite deep cuts. And today I'm joined by Heather Patterson. She runs the Say It charity, the LGBT plus youth charity here in Sheffield. Here's an interview we did earlier this week. Hello Heather, how are you doing?
Hi, yeah, I'm really good, thank you.
Good. Thank you for coming on Deep Cuts on Sheffield Live. You're here for Archipelago MP3s, and we will talk about your 3 song choices. I've just kind of already introduced who you are, but you run the Say It LGBT plus youth charity here in Sheffield. Can you give us a bit of background as to why you set up the charity and some of the work you've been doing?
The charity was actually set up back in 99, so it's been going 22 years now. But we work with LGBT young people from 11 through to 25. So we run regular youth groups. We do work in schools and colleges. We provide a counselling service, but we also do a lot of training. We run a parents and carers support group, and we're involved in organising a lot of the events around the city around some of the memorial days, so sort of Trans Day of Remembrance, the International Day Against Homophobia, World AIDS Day, stuff like that we tend to, as one of the sort of city's LGBT charities, we tend to coordinate some of that.
Cool. And so I know a lot of this will have been done in person. So how has the last kind of year or so been? I know before we press record, we'll talk about how often you've had to go on Zoom, as we all have. But how difficult is it to kind of do things from afar in that regard?
It's been really mixed, to be honest. Like, obviously, like everyone, straight away you just announced that you've got to shut down, and all of our services moved online initially. So we were suddenly running our weekly youth groups via Zoom like this. But it's actually had some benefits as well. So I think a lot of people have talked about sort of the difficulties of COVID, which, everyone's really struggled. But suddenly being online, we were able to reach young people who maybe couldn't get to the centre for different reasons. They might be a little bit further out of the city. So a young person who lives in Stocksbridge maybe, and the city centre is a bit of a trek for them, or those who've got caring responsibilities or other things going in their life that would stop them from physically getting to the group. So on one side, that's actually been quite a good thing that we've been able to reach young people who need our support, who we wouldn't have otherwise got to. But obviously it's been really, really difficult that so many young people, the sort of mental health need has been horrendous. Like, people have really struggled. We've got an awful lot of young people who are quite isolated, that are in homes where maybe they're not out at home or they're not accepted. And normally that's maybe not too bad because they've got their groups that they go to, they've got their friends at school and college, they've got their support elsewhere, but suddenly all of that's being sort of taken away from them, and they're sat on their own in the bedroom with, in a household where they maybe don't know that they're gay or trans or whatever, or they don't support them in that. So that's been really difficult to find ways to support the young people and make them feel less isolated while we've been shut down. We have been able to do some face-to-face work still because we're in an exempt category, so we've been able to still run some small groups and some face-to-face counselling service so that we can make sure that we reach our most vulnerable young people who may not be able to get online, or it may not be safe for them to access it from their home because they're within earshot of people or what have you. But yeah, we've been really busy, it's just been an honour really to be in the position where we can help people who are really struggling. We've just done a number of care package schemes where we've we couldn't necessarily see people face to face, so we've been able to send them bits and pieces that they need, and some of that might be actual hardship, food and toiletries type things, but a lot of sorts of mental health things, sensory toys, maybe some nice toiletries that, you know, that they may not be able to afford themselves, and little things like little pride flags and things where they're feeling a bit sort of cut off from the community, so little trinkets that sort of make them feel more connected. So they've gone down really, really well. It's been really nice to be able to provide that. And also, like I say, the counselling service is the busiest that it's ever been. So we're quite fortunate that we've got the Noah Lomax Fund, which was set up by the parents of Noah, who was a young man who took his own life while he was actually on the waiting list for CAMHS, the Youth Mental Health Service. And obviously his family didn't want anyone else to go through that. So they set up a fund to help us provide a counselling service that we're able to provide at the point of need. So if a young person's struggling, rather than going, well, here's a waiting list and you might get to see a counsellor in 18 months' time, it's like, okay, you can see someone next Tuesday. And being able to do that stops people's mental health getting even worse, because, you know, we see that people sat on waiting lists and just struggling more and more while they're waiting. So actually we can deal with a lot of stuff where people are just starting to struggle a little bit, and we can just give them that support in those early stages so that they don't get worse. So, yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant charity to work for. I've been there a few years now, obviously, now chief exec, but I used to work on our domestic abuse project. So we've got our Call It Out project that works with domestic and sexual abuse services to help make them more inclusive for LGBT people. We also do some SEND work, looking at some of the specific needs of LGBT young people with additional needs. So there's loads of other projects. So I think lots of people know us for Fruit Bowl, which is our sort of long-running weekly youth group, but they don't necessarily know about all of the other work that we do as well. So, yeah, it's a really brilliant charity to work for. It's just very busy.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's such important work, but it's great that, you know, even due to the pandemic where a lot of things have just kind of stopped or been put on hold, that you're able to kind of work through because, you know.
Yeah, and I see the importance myself. Like when I was younger, I went to an LGBT youth group myself, which I then went on to volunteer for, I then went on to work for, and so now to be in the position of chief exec of sort of coming all the way through is amazing, because it's that, you know, because I know how important that support was when I was a young person a few years ago.
Cool. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the charity shortly. But like I say, you are here for Archipelago MP3s, and you've picked three songs that we're going to discuss and then play. So kicking off with Grace Petrie. So she is a singer-songwriter and political activist from Leicester, for those that don't know. And this is one from a 2018 album, Queer as Folk. So, yeah, lyrically, this is kind of about beating down societal gender norms and things like that. And I guess because of her activism and the kind of activism you do yourself, is music with this kind of strong message something you gravitate towards?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much into clever lyrics, I think. So I think important and sort of good messages, but I also like things that are sort of lyrically quite clever. I've never got into poetry really, but sort of music with strong lyrical content I really like. I sort of like a lot of old school hip hop and things, and just like, yeah, I'm quite into sort of clever language and music. But also specifically, I chose this one because Grace Petrie, before she went off to go do music full time, she actually used to be a youth worker at SAIS. So she used to work. So she used to work for us. So seeing that and seeing those messages and that, like, and how relevant they are to our work as a charity, to me personally, to our young people, really resonates with me. And if you haven't seen the video is absolutely brilliant as well.
Excellent. Well, I do advise people to go and watch the video, of course. But for now, we have the audio. This is Grace Petrie with Black Tie.
2018, I didn't think we'd still be sorting babies into blue and pink. And all our progress, well, I wonder what it means that the only girls' clothes that work for me turn out to be boyfriend jeans. Well, that's fine, 'cause I decline a narrow set of rules that just don't work. 'Cause these red lines, well, they're not mine. And if you need me, you can find me ironing my shirt, 'cause I'm in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in a year 11 hell, saying everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find clothes that fit. And the images that most of were a patriarchal structure. And you never will surrender to a narrow view of gender. And I swear there'll come a day when you won't worry what they say on the labels, on the doors. You will figure out what's yours. And it's a bloody nightmare, trying to fight the spread of bigotry and fear that's uniting Piers Morgan and Jermaine Greer. And all our progress, yeah, I wonder who it's for. When I dared to utter that trans lives matter here, and all I got was a turf war. Well, that's fine, 'cause I decline your narrow set of rules, they just don't work. These red lines, well, they're not mine. And if you need me, you can find me ironing my shirt, 'cause I'm in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in a year 11 hell, saying everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find clothes that fit. And the images that touch you were a patriarchal structure. And you never will surrender to a narrow view of gender. And I swear there'll come a day when you won't worry what they say on the labels, on the doors. You will figure out what's yours. You will figure out what's yours. And that it's got nothing to do with fitting neatly in a box that was constructed to make it seem like people come in just two teams, and anything that's in between ain't good enough. And you will love, and you'll be loved, and you're in black tie tonight. Get a postcard to my year 11 self in a year 11 hell, darling, everything's gonna be alright. No, you won't grow out of it. You will find clothes that fit. And the images that fish over were a patriarchal structure. No, you never will surrender to that narrow view of gender. And there's folks you've yet to meet, but you're exactly up their street, and they've been waiting just as long to hear someone sing this song. And better days are on their way, when it won't matter what they say on the labels, on the doors. You will figure out what's yours. And girl, you're gonna be so happy. And girl, you're gonna be just fine. And girl, you're gonna be so happy. Down the line, down the line.
That was Grace Petrie with Black Tie. I'm still here with Hev Patterson from Say It Charity. I'm going to move on to your second musical choice now. So this is a Scottish indie pop band called The Spook School. Or they were. I don't think they're together anymore, are they?
No, they've split up now.
So this is taken from Could It Be Different, their 2018 album. So yeah, with this one, they're not a band I was particularly aware of, so I've kind of been reading about them. And I know the singer Nye Todd is a trans person, and I was kind of reading about how they try and make their shows inclusive, even if they're, not fully in power of venues and things like that, but they'll do things like trying to have gender neutral toilets and things like that. So how important is it, do you think, that artists speak up about things like this? And especially kind of how important it is for allies to speak up as well in other bands. And I was thinking, I don't know if you've seen a lot of festival lineups coming out recently. Very, very male-heavy, cis-white male-heavy lineups coming out, and it kind of feels like we're going backwards from
apparently all the female artists retired during lockdown.
Yeah, it's weird, that, isn't it? So how important is it, do you think? Because maybe I'm missing it, but you don't ever kind of see a lot of these acts that are on these bills kind of pulling out or speaking up. I don't know. How important do you think that allies do get vocal about these things?
I think it's important because a lot of people don't necessarily have a platform. So if you've got a stage and you've got that voice and you've got that audience and you've got more ability to share that message and more people that will listen. So someone else that's just sort of sat there, that might have 20 followers on Twitter or something could be like, yeah, this is really important. But actually, if you're on stage at Glastonbury or on whatever music festival or show or whatever, you've got all of these people who can listen to that message. So actually, in terms of sort of sharing that information, musicians and artists are really, really important in the conveying of messages. And Spook School are brilliant. I worked with them a couple of years ago. They did a fundraiser gig in Sheffield for Sheffield Action for Trans Health. And I was involved in just helping set up. I was just doing some shifts on the bar there, but it was, they were really lovely. You could tell that like they really believed in what they were saying as well. So it wasn't just, I think sometimes artists can be perceived as sort of jumping on a bandwagon or supporting a popular cause or something like that. But yeah, really good group of people, and you could see that it was something that they really personally mattered to them. And obviously, like I say, they were doing that gig to support a local cause as well. So yeah, they were great.
And what is it about this particular song, Body, that you like?
I think a lot of it's the work that we do. Obviously, it was thinking about sort of trans and non-binary young people with that in mind specifically, but I think it's something that a lot of us can relate to in terms of discomfort with our bodies or not feeling attractive or just feeling comfortable in your own skin in general. And I think that's something that most of us probably go through at some point. So again, just thinking about those lyrics with a message. Plus, it's an absolute bop as well. Like, it's a good one to have a jump around to.
Cool. Well, let's do that now. This is the Spook School with Body.
Are you okay now? Do you feel alright? Why did you say you want to die? Are you okay now?
Are you okay now?
Do you feel alright?
Do you feel alright?
Why did you say?
Why did you say
You want to die?
you want to die?
Are you okay now?
Are you okay now?
Do you feel alright?
Do you feel alright?
Why did you say?
Why did you say
You want to die?
you want to die? Are you okay now? Are you okay now? Do you feel alright? Do you feel alright?
Why did you say?
Why did you say
You want to die?
you want to die?
Are you okay now?
Are you okay now?
Do you feel alright?
Do you feel alright?
Why did you say?
Why did you say
You want to die?
you want to die?
Are you okay now?
Are you okay now?
Do you feel alright?
Do you feel alright?
Why did you say?
Why did you say
You want to die?
you want to die?
Are you okay now?
Are you okay now?
Do you feel alright?
Do you feel alright?
Why did you say?
Why did you say
You want to die?
you want to die?
That was the Spook School with Body. I'm still here with Heather Patterson for your third and final choice, song choice. So we're going with Molotov Jukebox, a cover of The Power of Love. So I'm sure most people are kind of aware of this band, London Six Piece. I'm aware of kind of a lot of YouTube videos they do, but kind of, realize, they are releasing their own albums. They're apparently a great live act as well. So when did you first discover the work, and why did you pick this particular song?
They were just one, I think, that came up on my sort of suggested artists on Spotify at some point. But I saw them play in the Little Room at Leadmill a couple of years back. And I always like when you sort of stumble across the gigs in the Little Room, because they just feel more, I don't know, more intimate, or you feel like you've got into a secret club because there's only like sort of 50 of you watching them. And it was just a brilliant night, like you say. They're a fantastic live band, so solely chosen, I think, just for the feel good factor.
Yeah, good one to end on with this as well. Well, thank you very much for coming along. Where would you kind of like people to, or where would you point people towards online to kind of help the charity?
If you just check out our website, it's sayit.org.uk, and we're on all of your usual social media, sort of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Drop us a message, have a look at what we're up to, but we're always up for people getting involved.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you very much.
This is Molotov Jukebox with Power of Love.
Is a curious thing. Makes one man weep, makes another man sing. Change a hawk into a little white dove. More than a feeling, that's the power of love. Tougher than diamonds, breaks like cream. Stronger, harder than a bag of dreams. Make a bad one good, make a wrong one right. Power of love keeps you home at night. Don't need money, don't need fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's done, but it's cold sometimes. Might just change your life. That's the power of love. And might make you sad. Taking time you'll feel it and might make you mad. But you know when you find that's the power makes the world go round. Don't need money, don't need fame, don't need no credit card to buy this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it can be cool sometimes. Might just change your life. They say that all in love is fair, yeah, but you
That was Molotov Jukebox with Power of Lover, Huey Lewis and the News cover. Massive thank you to Heather Patterson for coming on the show. Her charity is Say It, so sayit.org.uk. And she was perhaps too humble to say, if you go to her website also, heatherpatterson.co.uk, that's Patterson with one T, you can see all the great work she has done and is doing.